Welcome to As the Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton. Today we have our October recap episode, which means you'll hear clips from interviews with Niklas from Orbit Culture, Nils from Heretoir, Molly of Living Dead Girl, Stefan from Psychonaut, Jorge from Jaguar, Harrison and Chris from Downswing, Devin from the Acacia strain, Skye from Sumo Cyco, Darius and Alex from Spite, Tom and Zach from Howling Giant, and Joel from Aviana. Thanks so much for checking out this episode of As the Story Grows. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. You can find links in our show notes or at asthestorygrows.com for our mailing list, our Discord server, and our Patreon page, where $1 a month will get you early access to every episode. And if you like what you hear, I would love it if you subscribed to the podcast feed, never miss an episode, and check out all the interviews from all these amazing bands. Enjoy today's recap of every podcast that aired in the month of October. Put out Descent and the EP, The Forgotten. Was that just an overflow of music because of the pandemic, or was it like we just need to release some B-sides to get out of a bad label? You don't have to answer that second one if that's the case.
I mean, probably. I cannot really approve or deny, but no. But what we have always done is that we always write music. It's always in the back of our minds. But also we wanted to get that out, because we can also see like you have to. I don't know the English word translation for it, but while the iron is hot, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. Strike while the iron's hot. There
you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we got you. This new record's coming out on Century Media. How'd you guys get connected with them as a label?
It's also kind of a funny story because they chased us around all these festivals for like a year, maybe a year and a half, and we were very anti-labels because labels sometimes can be shit.
Yep.
So we're like, who the fuck are you? And they were like, yeah, we're just Century Media here. I'm like, okay. Well, fuck you. Buy us beer. Like we were kind of that, and then we started. They were almost like they came out, and once we said like the key to our band is fuck the business.
Yeah,
we become best friends first,
and
that's what they learned. And then when we I think we were like free agents 2 days, maybe 1 day, and. I was like, okay, what's the next step here? So I came into the apartment. I remember it so vividly. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to call the president of Central Media now. And he picked up the phone. He was very happy. I don't know. Yeah. He didn't expect anything. Maybe he did. But I was like, okay, we want to sign, but you have to bring your ass to where we live. And he was like, when? Like in 4 days or something.
Yeah.
So he actually came like old school with a briefcase, and we signed, and then we got very drunk, celebrating all night, and everything from there has been amazing.
This new album is called Solastalgia. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah.
It seems like this record really deals with I don't know, whether it's the climate disaster or just like a disconnection of how modern technology has taken us away from nature. How much do you guys collectively as a band talk about the lyrical concept of a record, or how much of that is just presented as like, you know, David or whoever's writing the lyrics, and then it's just, you're just signed on to whatever they're writing?
So this differs a lot. I will go to Soulstalgia in a minute, but Night Sphere, for example, was completely written by Matthias, by our bass player. He wrote, it's a concept album. He wrote the music, he wrote the lyrics, he chose all the titles, he chose the artwork, and then we worked like the melody lines, the vocals. We worked together in the studio, and David did a lot of like the melodies on top of it. But for Soulstalgia, it was David, Matthias, and me writing the lyrics. And if you look at the album, like the album is called Soulstalgia, and the overall theme, I would say, is grief. But like not every song specifically deals with what you just mentioned. Like, I mean, Soulstalgia kind of means the grief over the loss of the natural world, and this is not meant in like a conservative or like, how do you say, you know, it deals with the destruction of what we need to live, to breathe, and to be as a species. But not all of the tracks deal exactly with those topics. Okay. So most, not most, but some of the songs are written by David. The lyrics, Ashen Falls, You Are the Night, for example, Dream Gatherer, and they all deal a bit with like being kept in. It might sound a bit corny, but just in the capitalist workforce, to really struggle to work, I don't know, 60, 70 hours a week, and being completely ripped apart by your day job. Yeah. And Matthias wrote Soulstalgia, and he did Season of Grief, and those are, I think, way more explicit in their meaning. Oh, I'm wrong. Matthias did not write Soulstalgia completely. It is funny because all the three of us wrote some bits and pieces, and I think Matthias just put it together. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, we all talk about, especially Matthias and I, he's like my closest friend, and we're talking a lot about what is important to us, and how we're living in this insane lifetime where you think every decision that's made by the ruling class or by like politicians is like for the worst, for like the most of the people. Yeah. So you just heard me or saw me struggle a bit to find a clear path to your question, because it's not a yes or no answer. Yeah. So but I think you can find grief in every song. Yeah. It's a pretty sad album. It's a pretty sad topic because in my opinion, we're living in a pretty sad and nearly dystopian world at the moment. Yeah. But if you, for example, take Dream Gatherer, I interpret the lyrics also as pretty sad, kind of. But you can also read it, and I think combined to the music, you can also read it a bit as some kind of refuge, to just dream away and just be with yourself, or just be at peace for a little while. And I mean, it's not that like most of us are pretty pretty privileged people. Most of us studied, we have well-paid jobs and stuff like that. You know, we're far away from being like people who really suffer and struggle in the world. But I mean, this is also always the question, how to use your voice. And I mean, the grief and the struggle we have are, for us at least, are real. Other people might see it differently or might have different opinions, but that's okay.
What was the local music scene like? Were you close enough to Toronto where you were going in, or was it just like a struggle once you decided to like try to pursue music?
I would drive to Toronto for concerts a lot, but a lot of bands also don't even come to Canada because, you know, traveling across the border with all your merch and gear. I honestly get it now. I understand the logistics of it. I get why they skip it.
Yeah.
But so I would drive to the States for concerts a lot too. Like my family would take me as like, we've been to like New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, all over the place just to go to concerts. Like that was like our thing, was road trips for concerts. But then when I started playing music, I kind of didn't do much until I moved to the States because Canada's a really hard place to tour. Everything is so spaced out. It's really far drives. And there's also just significantly less people. So like you have a much larger population in the US. So we didn't really start seeing any like touring opportunities really until we got that US work visa and relocated. And before my first tour ever, the Exorcism tour back in 2022, before that first tour, I had only played 8 shows in my entire life.
Oh, wow.
So I went on that first tour green as fuck, completely inexperienced.
Yeah. Real eye-opening experience.
It was like a harsh reality check.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, I feel like at this point in the music industry, even though like touring, the first time you do it, it is so, I don't know, an out-of-body experience almost, or hard. Like the reality that not everything is like Metallica and tour buses and stadiums, like
oh my God,
you kind of know like it's going to be hard as hell, right?
Well, that's the thing is like our manager Jeremy was trying to like mentally prepare me for it. I remember having like a talk with him at his house where he was saying like sometimes you go days without showering, you scrounge up any money you have just to eat garbage food. And I remember him telling me like that I couldn't shower every day, and like my bottom lip started quivering. I almost started crying. I was like, wait, what do you mean you don't get to shower? And then he's like, well, you shower at truck stops. And I was just shocked. I was like, what do you mean you shower at a truck stop? What does that mean? Whereas like now that's just our reality and I'm used to it. But, you know, 3-4 years ago, the thought of that disgusted me.
Reading the press release, it seems like, you know, the discovering you're going to be a father for the first time matched with this grief of your father and Thomas's father being diagnosed with cancer, like kind of lended to the sonic landscape. At what point in writing do you know that this album is going to take more of a, I don't know, an open feel? Because even though this record's still heavy, it's much more open and atmospheric than the previous releases.
Yeah, quite simply because I wanted to write an album that was, I guess, a way of showing how beautiful I think music can be within my own personal limitations, as a way of showing my son, this is what music sounds like in my head, and I hope you enjoy it. And I also didn't really feel angry. I was tired, of course, and sometimes scared maybe, but I wasn't angry. So that's why it sounds different than the last one when I was very angry.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was from an artist's point of view, it's a cool thing to happen. As much as it fucking sucks losing my dad out of the blue. Yeah. It's a weird, paradoxical art thing that this actually happened, you know, to write an album about how awesome it is to become a father, And then just like out of nowhere, your perfectly healthy father just gets the news. 6 months later, he's gone. Yeah. Fucking sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. It's my dad passed away in 2019, and it's like my son was, I don't know, a year and a half. He must have just turned 2 at that point.
Oh, wow.
And so like, and like my sister had a baby that year. So it's like that whole cycle of like death and new life. It's like weird where it's like, here's this child making me so happy while dealing with the grief of losing your parent. Like, this weird paradox.
I kind of convinced myself that you're not allowed to be so happy. It's so happy. You're so happy with this baby. Yeah. It's too much. Something has to go. It's like how I tried to process it, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. Yeah, that's very similar to my son was 8 months old, I think, when he passed away. So
yeah.
But he did get to meet him, so I'm thankful for that. Again, you could try to find something.
Is called Severance. It's kind of the track right in the middle of the album. What led to that being the title of the record? And I know like Fool's Paradise is about kind of American politics, but what are things that like you guys were thinking about when you were writing this album?
Yeah, so the lyrics were mostly written by Jimmy and me. And he came up with the title, actually. I told him, like, are you sure? Because there's also a show named like that. But it made sense also to us because in the last 5 years, we've been through a lot of changes on a personal level, but also, like, we were, like, on a good streak, I would say, before the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we had to come to a full stop, and 3 members quit the band as well, and so it was like this moment, and a lot of changes were happening very fast, and it made sense when he mentioned this or suggested this title. And the lyrics deal with things such as feeling stuck in life, feeling frustrated, or feeling like you're not doing as well as you used to, and also talks about some other serious stuff, such as, for example, I wrote the lyrics for Disposable Minds, which talks about how the system like entrap us on a and that pretty much from the moment you're born, like your life is already decided just by the circumstances and your context and some deterministic stuff. And also we have Anthropocene, which I also wrote, well, at least the lyrics, which deal with, it's like written from the Earth's perspective and like talking to humankind and just reminding us that we are not like the owners of this world, and that a lot of species over millennia has come and then some massive extinction hit, but life flourishes again and continues, and like we are just passengers in this if you consider like the geological scale of time and all that stuff. And so I don't know, that's a little more kind of more of a crazy topic. But all in all, like we wanted to write more about some serious stuff in comparison to the previous album. After what would he say? What's
times two.
With this new record, you guys are now on MNRK Heavy. How'd you get connected with the label?
Yes. Oh, jeez. They were the only one that wanted us. I mean, yeah, to sum it up, our manager, Tuck, who plays bass in Fit for a King, you know, obviously we shopped the record around to other labels, and we had a couple conversations with some, and it seems like no one was really interested in the time. And then we ended up having a conversation with Kyle from Monarch, and his like energy on that call that we had, he just seemed so stoked about the record.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is really good. Like, we want you guys, and we're going to do X, Y, and Z to help bring this record and the band to the next level. And we've been signed in the past, obviously, to Rise Records and Modern Empire, and they were really bad experiences, to say the least. Yeah. And to have a team from a label behind you that's really stoked and really like is in contact with you every day and is you know, laying out like, all right, guys, this is what we're gonna do this week. Like, we talk to the guys over there almost every single day. Just genuinely excited to they're work just with us. So stoked, and that really like made us confident, because our last release, our EP Let This Life Devour You, we were kind of bitter at record labels because of the things that they've done for us in the past. We're like, well, we could just do that ourselves and own these songs. So we don't need a record label. But then we met the guys from Monarch, and we're like, okay, this is what it's really like. This is what it should have been all along. It felt like home. It's a strange way to put it, but it really did, with people that genuinely are excited to work with you, are stoked to put out the new songs and like hear what everything that we have going on. It's like, it felt like a whole different world for us. It really did.
What led to the decision to kind of do Step Into the Light and Failure Will Follow as like kind of maybe more traditional Acacia Strain, fast, short songs, and the like sludgy, long songs?
Because there, for quite a while, we did the thing where it was like we'd end a record with like something that's doomier or longer,
like the new album.
Yes, but it was like, all right, let's do an entire like just sludgy record.
Yeah.
But also do something that was also like the exact opposite of that. And the idea was that like those records were two sides of like the same coin, where there are a lot of parts that were on Step Into the Light that had been morphed and changed a bit to be a part on Failure Will Follow. And some of them like are very obvious, and there's some where people haven't caught on, like that's the same part. And I'm like, how did you not notice that? But there's a lot of the stuff that is, especially on Basin of Vows, there's a lot of parts that are like, oh, this is that part, but played way sludgier and slowed down, and the drums are different. But it's like, it glues the records together. It's like just kind of different. The idea was like, different realities basically of like the same situation.
Yeah.
So that was like Vincent's mindset going into it. And then musically it was like, how do we connect these things that are more disconnected than anything? Like,
yeah,
because Step Into Light is very fast, and I wouldn't even say like traditional Acacia Strain, but I would say like it's faster. But with everything we do, we try to like, okay, what haven't we done? And not just for the sake of like, oh, we've never done this, let's do that now. But I like to think that we have like whatever like ever expanding box that we have as far as like what is the Acacia Strain. And with a lot of bands, I think that if you do the same or similar thing for too many records, that box becomes like a tomb.
Yeah.
You can't expand it anymore. It's just like, this is what this is. Because if you change now, after doing 3-4 records of like basically the same thing, you're going to lose the people that you have.
Yeah.
But also the fact that you can't really expand it, you're not going to gain anybody else.
Yeah.
As far as listeners go, and you're going to get bored with it. And that's the big problem, is like, we don't ever want to get bored with what we're doing. So we're always seeing, like, every record, it's like, okay, what else can we fit in this box that makes, we can expand it a bit.
Yeah.
Still keeping everything that's in there, but it's like, what else fits here? And sometimes it's like, we're going to take a step outside of the box and be like, this doesn't fit, but we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And then you do it a right way, and it just like, it ends up adding.
Yeah. Yeah. Listening to the new record, it seems like a lot of that, well, there's always been doom and sludge elements to the band, especially over the last, 4 or 5 records. It seems to really carry over into the new record in some of the riff writing. I mean, do you feel that way?
Yeah. And I think a big part of it now is like really trying to marry the ideas of like, it doesn't have to be just this song is doomy and this song is fast or like is, punishing or whatever. It's like, oh, you can really like we understand how we write both of those things. So it's like, how can we, it's like the last song is long, but it's also like, there's a lot of the stuff that like would work anywhere on the record. And it's like, oh, you can have something that's like slow guitars with something crazy going on with drums and things that like make it feel more like energetic, as opposed to just like you're only doing this like doomy kind of crowbar thing.
Let's start there, kind of the middle of your life, beginning of your career. What kind of led you in that, teeny bop, pop punk world? And kind of, did you always, as a second part, did you kind of always know you wanted to do like a band or something different later in life?
Yeah, no, I started my music career pretty young. I was about 12 years old when I started professionally recording. I did my first demo, and it was all because of the encouragement of a local music teacher. So I always thought, like, I loved singing. I loved performing. I was in like all the school plays as a kid and stuff, but I got to really give credit to them, because without them kind of showing me the path to take in order to become like a professional recording artist, I think I would have just been doing after school programs until like I graduated school, and then would have looked for like, okay, how do you maybe make this more of a career? But they took me under their wing, showed me what it's like to be in a professional recording studio. Did vocal lessons, obviously, and that kind of stuff. And it was just natural at that time in my life. If you think of like a 12-year-old growing up in the early 2000s, who's big at the time is like all the pop boy bands, the Britney Spears, Christina's, that was my world. I grew up, with Disney. So all those songs and things were like my life up until that point. So it just felt really natural that I that was the music that I went to originally. And then I found this really cool producer. He was about 21 when I met him, and I was 13. So we were kids. Yeah. And we wrote this record called Noise from the Basement in his parents' basement. And it was right when digital music making was kind of on the forefront. Like, most people were going to full studios still in order to record, but he knew how to play every instrument. He had his laptop and he could like figure it out himself. And it was like the coolest thing to like skip school and like work on these songs. So I released my first record in 2004. There was like I had a whirlwind of a experience getting signed to Capitol Records when I was 15 and toured with Britney Spears, which was an insane, like my second tour I'd ever been on. So that's like a crazy experience in itself. But it was through that experience when I had to audition a band. So we're like, okay, you're going on tour. Like you need to have like a band. You can't just play by yourself. And I met a bunch of these guys that were older, way more kind of like been through a bunch of bands themselves. They had been through, playing different tours and clubs. And I just thought that the idea of like being with your buddies, like being with your friends and like just like hitting the road, like get in the van, let's go. I was like, that's so cool. And even though here I am, signed to Capitol Records, like, getting flights all over the place to do different things. I'm going, I would love to hang out with like my friends and go in a van and go across the country. Like that sounds like so much fun. So there was this, and I think everyone has it who's in music, like you romance the idea of like hitting the road, being out with your buddies and just like going club to club. And I always wanted to have that experience. And then Matt, who is my guitarist in the band, we ended up jamming, collaborating, and he ended up being, he's my right-hand man here in the band. So we've known each other for years. And it wasn't until like years later after my kind of pop career died down that we decided to like collaborate on something new, which was kind of born into Sumo Cyco.
Does that ever come with, I don't know, an extra complication working with your brother? Some brothers get along super easily, and that's like fun. And I don't know. I have 4 brothers, and they were never into what I was into musically and interested in playing music.
Oh, no doubt. And like all the little things that you have from your childhood, that all follows you when you're into a band with somebody too. So it's like, I tell everybody this, but it's just like a learning curve figuring that all out when you're sharing a business and like playing music with somebody else, living in close quarters with them, I should add, for 6 months at a time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're playing music for fun, and then it gets serious, and then it's a career, and then you're trying to make it fun and a career, and then it's your brother, and you have your own dynamics with your brother. No one knows you better than your own brother. You also have like this like deeper love. And then you also have the same drive and care for the thing that like, that's also extremely hard to find in music. So it's like, and we say this all the time too. We also like have this level of harshness with each other, which is a blessing and a curse, obviously, but we hold each other very accountable. So, and I think that's important when moving and trying to progress, that someone keeps things very real with you. And I think it helps you make the right decisions and keep your head straight, Yeah.
I think that's important with just like our relationships in general, but I'm just lucky to have my brother to kind of share that dynamic with, because that's hard to figure out with people as you get older too.
Crucible and Ruin, where'd this title come from, and what was kind of the inspiration behind this album?
Yeah, so I think so. The original like working title for the record was Lesser Gods, and it was this focus on kind of creating a world that maybe wasn't built by like an omnipotent, all-knowing like being. We wanted to be like, what if there was like a novice world builder, this Archon character who just like
a dude going to work,
just like trying their hand at creating a world with no ultimate game plan, and creating worlds and scrapping them and trying again and reusing parts, and living in this space that isn't like upheld by a grand design or a grand plan. So we kind of started putting together this concept and ultimately created like 4 perspectives for the record. One is the novice world builder. One is the like chaos element. This is almost like a primordial, like entropic sort of, I don't even know if you'd say creature or not, but it's like an entropic being. And that's represented by Beholder 1 and 2 on the record. Then the perspective of the people, the actual creation of this novice world builder. And the last perspective is essentially like the Watcher or the Archivist, which is kind of like a separate entity that just watches everything unfold and just documents and files it away in this like infinite library. And so we kind of created that story, that like subset of perspectives to categorize all the songs into. And really it was, I think, Zach who came up with the title Crucible and Ruin, which I think was a really cool way to bring up the idea of this like creation and destruction
cycle, almost.
Almost a cycle for this space. And it sounded very like, not fairy tale, but so that's kind of how that came together.
When you decided to abandon or move away from the demos you had been writing in that corporation kind of timeline, what were things you wanted to shift and focus on musically?
I wanted my whole view of Void was to create something more big. It's a weird and very like floaty word, but I wanted something more powerful and not talking about heavy breakdowns, but I wanted the whole song to become something more. So like working a lot more with synthesizers and stuff in the background. And then like, this is the first time I've been adding so much ad libs to a song, and like parts that you don't really think about is there, but if you actually listen for them, it's there. And working towards something more powerful as a whole song than just that breakdown that you're waiting for, and especially I wanted to challenge myself to do something that like is way out of my comfort zone. So for Evermore to write a chorus in falsetto, super scary to do that, but it got well received, and I'm happy to do that because that's gonna end up with a small break for me during live performances to just sing falsetto. Not belting like pretty much every single chorus on Corporation. So yeah, just trying something new and trying to be, I guess, new and shiny.
Yeah. I mean, what struck me instantly listening to Void is like, it is a grander record in scope and sound. It's not so like, I mean, Corporation's like, it's metalcore, right? Like it is like kind of tried and true, and like it's a fucking killer record. But like Void, you go from Father, which is this massive metal track, to Into the Void, which is just this beautiful, just like gorgeous song.
Yeah. And I think like the main like focus on looking at Void from afar was just to make it like a powerful record. Like it doesn't have to, like, powerful to me isn't the heaviest breakdown. It's what you put in between the whole song or the whole album. So I would say like just coming from Corporation and especially changing the mindset would be that I realized that I want to make something still new. But then again, like we come from the Corporation mindset, because if you look back at older albums, the first one was Gent, the other one was nu metal, then we did Corporation, and now this is the first time we're not changing the sound completely, but we're actually going from that sound that we felt that this is Aviana, and then progressing and evolving that sound, I would say more.